Alright, doing a video response to Fubar Protocol. He is doing a drawing for a shotgun, but his intent is to get more awareness and more people involved, and to get people, to realize what's going on. And it's on the my thoughts of the Second Amendment and the upcoming at least attempt to modify the Second Amendment. And I have a pocket constitution here. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, I don't know if I wasn't taught right, if I misunderstood the word infringed, but to me that's plain as day, black and white. In other words, you cannot pass any gun law. Any gun law is unconstitutional. And some people say, well, maybe there need to be certain regulations or certain, no, not infringed. I live in South Carolina and I can have a concealed weapons permit, and I have one. But in my heart and in my just common sense, according to the Constitution, I don't need a concealed weapon permit, but I do have one. Some people argue that, well, they had muskets then, black powder rifles. Well, that's a stupid argument. They were brilliant men. These men that wrote the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, they weren't farmers that got tired of their government and then just took up arms and went after them. No, these were brilliant men. They were, plantation owners, shipyard owners, shipping companies, whatever type of manufacturing they had back then. Stuff was still made even then. It might not have been big plants, but anyway, the men, a lot of the men that signed the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution were wealthy men. And I don't know the exact number, but I know many of them gave up their life, their wives, their sons, everything they owned for a future for me and you. They didn't do it for themselves because they were all wealthy already. They had it made. Their kids had it made. Even if they didn't like the government, they still had a good life. And they gave that up for a better way for America. For us. And now we allow the politicians to take that away from us. And as far as I'm concerned, any law is unconstitutional if it restricts my gun ownership. And the thinking that, well, they didn't know that guns would advance to that. Well, they might not have knew what they would advance to, but they knew they would advance. Like I said, these men were inventors. They knew things would progress. Even this old, which this is not an old gun, it's not antique, it's just a modern replica. Even this black powder pistol, this is like a 1860s. We advanced from the musket to this in 100 years. But the excuse that, well, they didn't know, and now these guns are so powerful that we got to do something about it. That's a ridiculous statement. Here's one of my guns. It's 45. It's a copy of a Colt 1911. This gun was finally adopted in 1911, put in production in 1912. It held 7 in the mag, 1 in the chamber, 8 rounds. 1912. And that's not the first successful semi-automatic, it's just one of the most famous and successful. Still made today. One of the guns I carry, actually. Where was the mass shootings then? Browning high power. As far as I know, this was the first successful high capacity double stack magazine gun. This gun was developed with this double stack magazine. And I could be wrong. Somebody, if I'm wrong, correct me. I didn't look it up. I'm just going by memory. But if I'm not mistaken, this gun was put in production in 1935. 1935. High capacity 9mm. And then when you had the 80s with the Brady Bill thing, oh, we got to do something about all these guns. They've been around since 1935. Why is it a problem now? It's not a problem with the guns. And then another one, AK-47. People, well, we got these high capacity guns now, we got to do something about them. This gun was developed, the AK-47, the AK stands for his name, the guy that designed it and got it working. I'm not even going to pretend to say his name because I'll butcher the hell out of it. But the 47 is for the year it was, you know, put in production or came, or at least adopted, whatever. 1947. This gun's been around since 1947. Where was the mass shootings then? Even the AR-15, which is in the spotlight right now. This gun, now of course I guess a little modern lights and red dot and stuff, but this basic gun was designed in the 60s. Maybe even late 50s. I really don't know. It might have been late 50s when when they was working on it. It got introduced in Vietnam in the 60s, but you know, it's been around since the 60s, I know. Well, it hadn't been a problem until now. And technically it's still not a problem. There were only 300 people killed with rifles in 2011. The latest stats for 2012 ain't out yet. So all this threats and the scare tactics by the government and the politicians and the gun grabbing groups is all a scare tactic. They make you think that this is a big epidemic. It's not. Only more people were killed with hammers than rifles in 2011. And when they say rifles, that means any rifle. A 22, a 30-06 bolt action hunting rifle. There's no specific number on the AR-15. But that's what they want to make you think, that this gun right here is the downfall of America. It's not. The morals of America is our problem. But I don't know. I hope I didn't get off subject too much. But I'm a very strong believer in the Second Amendment. I'm actually a strong believer in the entire Constitution. Our First Amendment has already been attacked. The Fourth Amendment has been attacked, and just you know, if you read the Fourth Amendment and then think about TSA going through an airport, it tells you right there that the Fourth Amendment's been shot. For police to search your vehicle without a warrant issued by a judge, according to the Constitution, they have to have a warrant. So they're attacking all the amendments, and the Second Amendment is the one that guarantees the other ones, even though they're still screwing with them. We got to take a stand, and we can't allow any more nonsense to take place. Oh, so you got me all riled up now. Anyway, so there's my video response. My feelings on the Second Amendment, I think it's pretty clear that I believe in the Second Amendment, and bottom line is I believe there should be no laws modified, attempted, or restricting any gun ownership. Anyway, that's my video for the day, and my little political stance.